Well, good morning, everybody. How are you this morning? All good? I'm good, thank you. You're all not good, but Barb's not good, but she's well. Well, there was a time this week where I thought, so our theme today, of course, is gratitude. So across the course of this month, we're thinking about the marks of faith. And today, the mark we're thinking about is gratitude. And there was a time during the week where I thought I was going to be able to say how grateful we were to be here on a lovely sunny morning. But unfortunately, we're going to have to be grateful for being here on a cold, wet, drizzly morning this morning. Mind you, I am very grateful that the lovely Katrina's sitting in the front seat, because she could be still stuck in Bali under different circumstances. So that's a wonderful point of gratitude for me this morning. But actually, the way I thought we might just start this morning was to do a very simple exercise. And during that exercise, Barb's going to come up and light the Christ candle. But, across the course of life, we often find ourselves thinking, if only this would happen, if only I'd get that better job, or if only, I could lose that bit of weight, or if only they give me a pay rise, or if only we could live in that house, or, so there's across the course of our lives, we think so often, I'm wishing for. This morning, what I just want us to do, and we're going to just play a very gentle little piece of music in the background while we do this for a couple of minutes. I want you to just think about what are the things, see if you can remember the things that at some time ago you went, if only. I was wishing for it, or praying for it, or hoping for it, or yearning for it. And you know what? Now you've got it. What are those things that at a prior point in time in your life you really yearned for, which today are now yours? So so Barb, can you come up and light the Christ candle? I think I've got to, there's every chance I'm going to mess this up this morning because I'm doing this. So, Bo, I've got to point that there, don't I? And wake it up. Yeah. So I've got to do that. So just while Dave Gray plays us a little 2-minute lilting melody, let's just think about those things that we've longed for that are now ours.
No false gods now. We are love's body, oh, we are undone. No false gods now. We are love's body, oh, we are undone. And you're damned if you do. Yeah, you're damned if you don't. No false gods now. We are love's body, oh, we are undone. And tonight, once again for the first time here tonight, once again for the first time, once again for the first time. No false gods now. We are love's body. Oh, we are undone. We are love's body. Oh, we are undone.
I hope you could remember something. I hope you could remember something. That's, for those of you who don't know Dave Gray, this is a moment of ungratitude for Katrina, because it turns out that album, that's Dave's new album, which is called Skellig, which is now my current favourite album, and she's not really that happy about it, but I play it all the time. Great little song. That song's called No False Gods, and the little refrain is, no false gods, we are love's body, or we are undone. Great song. So having just spent that moment remembering, why don't we be grateful for each other? You know, we stand and we pass the peace to each other, which is about a sense of goodwill towards each other. A couple of weeks ago, Brooker in Connect reminded us of the concept of namaste. You know, that act where perhaps normally in a Hindu culture they bow before they speak to each other, and that's an act which is about honouring the other, about remembering the sacredness of the other as you meet. And perhaps we bring some of that concept this morning as we just say hello to each other and we remember the sacredness. You know, this time last Sunday morning, I was down at Meetung with a group of men, and we were remembering the sacredness in each other about this time. But, you know, as I was thinking back on that, how grateful was I, how lucky am I to have been able to arrive in a community where there is a cohort of males who have an active care and interest in each other, albeit that's often expressed through completely inane and rubbishy conversation. And it certainly was last weekend. But yeah, let's just take a moment and rather than passing the peace, let's just engage each other, say hello, and have a moment of gratefulness for each other. Hello. Namaste, Colin.
Namaste. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling much better today. It was almost about lunchtime yesterday, sort of cold stuff broke for me. But yeah, no, it was really good. So. Namaste, Rosemary. No. Thank you for coming along and playing this morning. Oh, yeah. Yeah, know that afterwards. Okay, everybody, I think so gratitude. So what is gratitude? You know, we're coming this morning to think about gratitude. And these days, as you know, a couple of years ago, I think it was Colin Maria who first drew Brené Brown to my attention. And I really appreciate much of what she writes. So when I was thinking about what is gratitude, I thought I might turn to Brené and see what she thought gratitude was. So there up on the screen is her definition from gratitude from her last work, which is called Atlas of the Heart. I'm not sure if you've ever, are any of you aware of this? Great book in that it just goes through and it creates pithy definitions of a whole series of human emotions. Really interesting book. But here's what she says about gratitude. Gratitude is an emotion that reflects our deep appreciation for what we value, for what brings meaning to our lives, and for what makes us feel connected to ourselves and to others. In the Atlas of the Heart, she then quotes a chap by the name of Robert Emmons. And Emmons works at the University of California. He's professor of psychology there, and his area of specialty has been exploring emotional states, right? And she quotes a piece that he wrote in the Journal of Positive Psychology. And here's what he said. Research on emotion, particularly human emotion, obviously, research on emotion show that positive emotions wear off quickly. Our emotional systems like newness. They like novelty. They like change. We adapt to positive life circumstances so that before too long, the new car, the new spouse, the new house, they don't feel so new and exciting anymore. That's often the truth, isn't it? You know, that which is new and exciting at one moment, a short time later, is just a normal part of life. And he goes on to say this, but gratitude makes us appreciate the value of something. And when we appreciate the value of something, we extract more benefits from it. We're less likely to take it for granted. In effect, I think gratitude allows us to participate more in life. We notice the positives more, and that magnifies the pleasure we get from life. Instead of adapting to goodness, we celebrate goodness. These days, we spend so much time watching things, movies, computer screens, sports. But with gratitude, we become greater participants in our lives as opposed to spectators. So the idea is simple. Our emotional system takes that which is new and makes it normal. But the act of gratitude allows us, as it were, to hold on to the value of that which we already have. And by holding on and recognising the value in that, rather than being consistently trapped in the search for the new, we can actually celebrate that which we have today. And as we celebrate it, rather than standing outside of it and watching it, we can participate in it. Let's just spend a moment thinking about that. Just reflect on those two lines in particular. Instead of adapting to goodness, we celebrate goodness. We become greater participants in our lives as opposed to spectators. See if that feels a sense of connection with you. Now over to the musos. Dave, I think you're going to come and lead us in singing our first song this morning. And then after the song, Barb, just come up and do the reading for us.
Now, I think we're singing some words that may not be totally familiar. For this great sunburnt land, it's a song of thanks, gratitude, but it's to a tune which might be familiar, Now Thank We All Our God. So we'll probably pick up the tune as David plays the intro. With all its native life, the joy of God's creation. Fresh lakes and tall blue calms, who raise their voice on high, black swans that sweep with grace across the morning sky. Now thank we God this day for pioneers with vision, who found this heritage, a gift from God's deep passion. Oh God, on this wide land, grant us the faith to see. You filled its soul with song, a sacred mystery. With this great sunburnt land, we join in celebration, with roos and cockatoos, and mobs from every nation. Custodians God chose for bush and billabong, we join with grateful voice to sing this country strong. Please be seated.
Good morning. Good start. Reading from Luke chapter 17, verses 11 to 19. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through the region between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well."
Thank you, Barb. And again, we find ourselves dealing with a parable from the Gospel of Luke that we've all heard 1,000 times before. Great old parable. And one of those readings where you sort of read it, you go, well, this is obviously on theme for today. You know, some Sundays or in the week prior to, you read the reading and you think, my goodness me, how does that speak to what we're supposed to be chatting about? But today we have the parable of the 10 lepers. One comes back to say thank you. And as I was thinking about the reading today, I guess there were 2 things that really struck me just briefly. And the first was about the messenger and the second was about the message. Right? So here's the thing about the messenger. It seems to me that the gospel writer goes to a lot of trouble to point out to us that the messenger is a Samaritan, he's a foreigner, he's the dud in the group. You know, that's who the messenger is going to be. That's who the gospel writer is going to use to teach us the story this morning. The one that we have the least respect for. You know, I suspect if Jesus had told this parable, perhaps this morning he would have chosen an ethnic group and perhaps a religious tradition, perhaps even a gender. He would have chosen a person that fell into categories that most quickly ignited our prejudice. It would have been a North African Hindu or a transgender, Chinese person, it would have been that category of individual that we would have inherently dismissed as not being able to bring us insight and wisdom. And therefore, they're going to now be our teacher. They're going to lean up against our prejudice and challenge it. And they're going to remind us ultimately that it's our humanity that connects us. And it's our humanity that enables us to have wisdom and insight, not necessarily the ideas that we embody or the traditions that we come from. So this morning, we're going to be taught by the Samaritan. So that's the messenger. And what's the message? Well, the message is a pretty simple message. He came back, he said, thank you. And Jesus looked at him and said, rise and go your way. Your faith has made you well. Now, it's an interesting message in that, of course, there's been no discussion in the text as to what this man's faith was. There's no discussion of his ideas about God or belief in God. There's no discussion about his worldview, his values, his sense of spirit. None of those things are discussed. So when Jesus affirms that it is his faith that has made him well, either he's affirming the inherent faith of the foreigner, whatever that might be, Or perhaps what he's inferring, and I think more likely, is that it's this act of gratitude that has made him well. He's affirming his disposition towards others. The fact that he is going to be thankful and grateful. That's what he's affirming as his faith that's made him well. Not some set of lofty ideas that are, deemed to be right and absolutely true. This morning, perhaps the gospel writer in this little parable challenges us again to move beyond our prejudices, to see the human beings around us, and rather than being quick to judge them for the way they see the world or for the way they are different to us, it challenges us to be grateful and to engage with them, for they are ultimately like us and share our humanity with equality. Perhaps that's what the gospel writer means this morning. But I'll leave it for you to think about as you go into the week. So now we're going to sing again. And this time we're going to sing a song, So Here in This Place. And then after that song, John, would you just come and lead us in communion, please? And I'll try and remember to push the words right this time.
As we're moving into communion, let's stay seated as we sing Here in This Place. In this place, new light is streaming. Now is the darkness vanished away. See, in this space, our fears and our dreamings brought here to you in the light of this day. Gather us in the lost and forsaken. Gather us in the blind and the lame. To us now, and we shall awaken. We shall arise at the sound of our name. We are the young, our lives are a mystery. We are the old, who yearn for your face. We have been sung throughout all of history, called to be light to the whole human race. Gather us in the rich and the haughty. Gather us in the proud and the strong. Give us a heart so meek and so lowly. Give us the courage to enter the song. We will take the wine and the water. Here we will take the bread of new birth. Here you shall call your sons and your daughters. Call us anew to be salt for the earth. Give us to drink the wine of compassion. Give us to eat the bread that is you. Nourish us well and teach us to fashion lives that are holy and hearts that are true. The dark of buildings confining, not in some heaven light years away. Here in this place, the new light is shining. Now is the kingdom, now is the day. Gather us in and hold us forever.
peoples together, fire of love in our flesh and our bones.
You two right? You're okay. I just wanted to check. Just going back to what Danny was talking about, one of the things that around this gratitude thing is this whole issue of the examine prayers. So some people will go through a process at night, which they call examine. And one of the things, the first thing they ask you to do is to talk about the things in your day that you've been grateful for. So it's a really important concept. I think Danny's absolutely right on it. I wanted to go back to Brené Brown's quote that Danny used. Gratitude is an emotion that reflects our deep appreciation for what we value, what brings meaning to our lives, and what makes us connected to ourselves and others. This is a great quote from Brené Brown, and I'm very grateful for Brené Brown. She has given me very helpful insights into the issue of shame and challenged me deeply about being more vulnerable. I'm also deeply grateful for the spiritual companioning course I'm doing at present. Some of you will remember the course was a really hard slog for me last year, and I limped over the line at the end of the year. This year has been so much better. It's still been hard, but I understand more now about how I contributed to what I was feeling last year. And I understand more fully how God has worked in me through the course of this year. I'm also very grateful for Sue. She put up with a lot last year and was incredibly supportive, and she has been the same this year too, and she's smiling at the moment too, as she reflects on that. Another issue I'm grateful for is being in the SALT group this year. It's been fascinating and enjoyable to be part of the group and for each of us to use our gifts to see what is a sound outcome. I have learned a lot about Hartwell, about the people in the group, and how to be a more effective leader. And I'm very grateful for all that. I'm also very grateful for the challenge that Jesus gives us and the challenge he gives me about how I am to live. It's pretty clear in the Bible the followers of Jesus showed not a lot of gratitude when he was crucified. However, all that changed with Jesus' resurrection. So as we take the bread and the wine together, let's respond to Jesus with what's on our heart this morning. Our response may be about gratitude, or maybe our response is quite different to that. Wherever you are at, you are invited to be part of this meal and this time together. Let's pray. Loving God, thank you that you are here with us this morning. Thank you that you love us just as we are. Thank you that you challenge us to love God and to love others as we love ourselves. Amen. So we might just take the bread together this morning, and then we might take the cup together as well. So let's drink together, except I pulled my top off and it's left the plastic film on top. So I'm struggling to, I have to use a pen.
I might have sucked on that end of the pen.
Yeah, thank you. Let's drink together.
Thoroughly professional, leaving my piece of paper up there. Morning, everyone. Let's join me in prayer. It has been a traumatic few years. There have been lots of challenges: a pandemic, an economic meltdown, social isolation, injustice for minorities and the Indigenous. Not to mention floods, bushfires, climate change, and that's not even loading in our everyday sorrows. It has been difficult. And so we need to take some deep breaths now to pause and consider what we are thankful for. And we do have things to be thankful for. Thank you for those who listen, allowing us to vent our feelings and frustrations. Thank you to those who care, who comfort our sorrows and failures, those who work in caring professions who have been so challenged over the last few years. Thank you for those who motivate us, whose example stirs us to action, allows us to get back off the floor and try again. Thank you for those who challenge us, to help us consider there is another way of thinking and acting. Thank you for those with wisdom who educate us and allow us to understand and grow. Thank you to those who make us laugh, lifting our souls and giving us a better sense of ourselves. Thank you to those who help us sing in the car, in the bathroom, alone in the house, or even with others. They take us to places of our memories and give us joy. Thank you to those who love us, who give without expectation of return, who accept us as we are, who give us the energy to move forward. Let us remember gratitude in both the small and big things of our lives. Amen.
Morning, everyone. On behalf of Rosemary, myself and the church boards, I'd just like to give you some info this morning about the upcoming AGM, and also an important recommendation from both boards that will be presented at the AGM. So the AGM itself is on the 13th of November, so that'll be on us before we know it. And Danny, a couple of weeks ago, spoke about the recommendation that we'll be putting to both communities. And so I just wanted to talk to that again and yeah, just remind us and also give people an opportunity to ask further about it. But as we're all aware, for some time we've been working towards a merger between the Hartwell Church of Christ and the Avenue Church of Christ. And as part of progressing that merger, we've been having some extended discussions with CCVT about the future mission of our churches and also the use of our properties. And as John touched on just before, aligned with that process, we've also been working through a strategic planning process to help us as a community gain some clarity about the direction that we want to head in, to be true to our history as churches, but also to develop and to dream and to bring to fruition something that we can pursue with energy and integrity in the future. And so at the AGM on the 13th of November, the boards of both Hartwell and the Avenue will be recommending to each congregation that the two congregations enter into a joint management agreement. And this is an important next step in our merger. And what that means is that we will be functioning as a single congregation. The name of the Avenue Church of Christ will change to Hartwell, so H-E-A-R-T, capital W-E-L-L. We'll have a common board that will be increased from 9 to 10 members, and there'll be a minimum of 3 members from each congregation on that board. And at the same time, though, both legal entities will remain intact. So both incorporated associations will still exist. And the management agreement will also contain specific provisions that will allow us to move apart at a future point, if that's what we want to do. We don't envisage that will happen, but it's important that we retain that provision for now. So both boards are really strong in recommending this to the community because we believe that it's the next step, but also a really important and valuable step in moving towards a final merger. And some of the reasons for taking this step are that it provides us a really good basis to take the recommendations from the SALT process and plan that together. It also gives us a basis to begin conversations with potential new ministry candidates as well. So being able to say together that, yep, we're Hartwell and this is what we're wanting to do. And the other thing that it does is it maintains a high level of protection and a strong position for us in the protection of our assets as we continue to negotiate with CCVT around that. So it gives us that assurance that we have to move forward with that. So given the importance of the recommendation, the boards felt that it was appropriate to give some early visibility and information around this step to allow plenty of time for questions and conversations. So feel free to catch up with myself, with Rosemary, with Danny, or any other members of the boards if you have any questions or would like further info. And next Sunday, we'll give official notice of the AGM. We'll also give notice of the retiring board members, and we'll also be calling for nominations. Just wanted to run through that information again, just to bring that to our attention. And please feel free to come and see me or any other members of the boards if you have any questions. And I just think it's nice to be able to give this information today when we're talking about gratitude, because I think both communities are really grateful that we've met each other and that we're journeying together down this path. So, thank you.
Thanks, Cole. Now, perhaps the saddest thing about this morning is that Tim Adams not here, because every time Tim knows that I'm leading worship or speaking or doing anything like that, the one thing he says to me is he says, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. He obviously thinks I drag on a little bit now, and we're about to draw the service to a close, and we're about to draw the service to a close early. So he would have been a very grateful man this morning had he been here, but unfortunately he's not. So you've all got to tell him next time you see him. Oh, I hope so, Tim, if you're online. I forgot to welcome the online people this morning. I apologise about that. But in drawing the service to a close, I was talking to Dave during the week and I said, so what music's on the agenda, that we can play? And so Dave went away and he thought about some music and he came back. And Dave suggested that we close the service today singing together a song we will all know, but not a song that's a normal Christian song, but a fantastic song, which is that song, What a Wonderful World. So I'm going to call on the musicians and Mr. Goodwin to lead us in just singing together, Satchmo's old classic, What a Wonderful World.
Got it? Yeah, we've got it.
As you can see, this number totally depends on the drummer. Trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
I'm not sure it's the... community news, did I? Sorry, I apologise. Certainly.
Sorry, just a couple of reminders. On the 27th, we're having our market day. So if you have things that you make or bake or whatever, please come along. It's going to be, I believe, 11:30 till 3. Is this right? November, sorry. November, anyway. Okay. And also next week is the choir concert, which Helen and myself and Mary, who comes often to our Thursday services, will be in down at St Mark's. So I should have put a thing up on the hall. But it's Yarrow Gospel. If you Google Yarrow Gospel, you will find us. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Rosemary. And what am I also saying?
Tim's struggling.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, actually, in honesty, thinking about poor old Tim Adam, his hip's not really doing too well for him, and I suspect that may well be where he is this morning. And just on another thing.
Just to interrupt, so the main reason Tim and Julie aren't here this morning, so Julie conducted a wedding in Dalesford yesterday afternoon, so
they'll be there. That's true.
But yeah, Tim is struggling with his hip.
Yeah, and having danced all night last night, no doubt he's probably not in a good shape this morning. Yes. And for those of you who didn't see Mr. Purdy in a moment of gratefulness, his villa in his little Sweetwater villas down in Tasmania have just been given gold star rating. So if you're on the web this morning, Tim, well done for that. Top tier Tassie, yeah. Just coming back to Wonderful World, I was about to say, I'm not sure that's the best rendition of that song that's ever been done, but I think we should persevere, because that really is a great song, isn't it? That is just a great song. So I think we should persevere, and we should get better at singing "What a Wonderful World" as a. Well, no, I think we need to be grateful for those who are prepared to stand up and be counted. So, as we go this morning, just the benediction, and then I'll get Dave to lead us in the Irish blessing. But as we leave here this morning, and as we move into the week that is ahead of us, with all that it might bring, and who knows what it brings to us all, let us hold as present the thought that it is not joy that makes us grateful, but more likely it is gratitude that makes us joyful. Amen. Dave?
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall soft upon your field. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. May God hold you in the palm of his hand.